Okay, sampling techniques. So we kind of talked about, I think it was Cole that asked something about how you collect data is important, okay? And the reason why is because if I am collecting data about the senior class, is it fair if the only people I ask are in my room? Not really, because that's not necessarily a true representation of the senior class. So you have to collect data if you want a good survey that is a true representation of the population that sample is representing. So simple random sampling is one of the more commonly done ones. You are randomly selecting in subjects, so however many people from a population. Each subject has an equal chance of being chosen. So I put all of the seniors' names in a hat and I draw 10 names. Everyone has an equal chance of being chosen. Is that all right? So that would be a simple random. Convenient sampling, that's the one I just said, is I'm just going to ask the people sitting in my classroom. That's convenient for me, but it's not going to necessarily be a true representation. That is usually going to be biased. So it is easy to get, and it is not a valid sampling method and will likely result in biased data. The one they like to use a lot is, like the example that they have here is, the guy sticks his head out the window and asks a person something. Or if you stand at the corner of Costco and you ask people a question. Well, that's not going to be a true representation because not everyone can afford a membership at Costco. So you're leaving out an entire demographic. So you have to kind of think about that whenever you're doing a sample. Systematic sampling, the researcher selects a starting point and then selects every kth person in the population. So, for example, I put the senior class in alphabetical order, okay? I'm going to start with the third person, and then I would pick every fifth person after them. That's systematic sampling. Okay, stratified sampling. Stratified and cluster are similar, so you have to make sure you know the difference between the two. Stratified is a sample in which the researcher subdivides the population into at least 2 different groups or strata, and then draws a sample from each subgroup. So the phrasing that we use here is sum from all. So I divide you into 4 equal groups based off of when your birthday is. And then I randomly select 3 people from each of those groups. That is stratified sampling. Okay? Cluster sampling, on the other hand, is you first divide the population into sections or clusters and then randomly select all members from those clusters. So again, that one is all from some. So again, I divide y'all into 4 equal groups based off of your birthday, and I'm going to take everyone from the second group and pull them. That is a cluster. So make sure you understand the difference between stratified and cluster. The initial idea is the same, which is put them in different groups, but then how you collect the sample is different. One is you pick a few from each group. The other is you just select 1 or more groups, depending on how many you have. So what are my 5 different sampling methods? Someone name one without looking at your notes. Stratified. What did you say? Cluster. So stratified, cluster. Give me another one. This is the one everyone always has trouble with. So I thought she said something else. Okay, simple random, which is also just random. You can say just random. Convenience. And then the one that no one can ever remember, but they know what it is. The ratio one. Systematic. The one where you start at this certain number and then pick every fifth or every whatever from there. Everyone always has trouble remembering systematic. It's a system. You have a system in place of how to do it, if that helps. Okay? Identify your sampling methods. So Letter A, an instructor teaching research methods or interested in knowing what study techniques their students are utilizing. So example 1 is, rather than assessing all students, the researcher draws name from a hat. That's going to be random. Random, simple, random, again, doesn't matter which one you say. It's basically the same thing. Rather than assessing all students, the researcher randomly selects 10 students from each of the sections to comprise their samples. So think of a professor at a college who has 10 different statistics classes. This says they're going to select 10 students from each class. Stratified. Rather than assessing all students, the researcher selects all students from 2 of the sections. Cluster. To estimate the percentage of defects in a recent manufacturing batch, a quality control manager at Intel selects every 8th chip that comes off the assembly line, starting with the 3rd, until she obtains a sample of 140 chips. Systematic. And that is actually one of the most common uses of systematic, is an assembly line type thing where you're just randomly drawing stuff, trying to make sure that it meets quality control. That is a very common method of that. To determine the prevalence of human growth hormone use among high school varsity baseball players, the State Athletic Commission randomly selects 50 high schools. All members of the selected high school's varsity baseball teams are tested. So randomly selecting and then choosing all the kids from, that's going to be cluster. A member of Congress wishes to determine her constituency's opinion regarding estate taxes. She divides her constituency into 3 income classes, low, middle, and upper, and takes a simple random from each class. Stratified. To identify if an advertising campaign has been effective, a marketing firm conducts a nationwide poll by randomly selecting individuals from a list of known users of the project. It's a simple random. Usually it is going to have that word in there.